What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Showcase Sports Show. I am Griffin Conant. As always, my partner in crime, Elijah Cornejo, joins me. How you doing, E?
Griff, I'm happy. Football was back this weekend. I was in a couch coma all of Sunday, watching all the games on Red Zone. It was great. I was happy. It was awesome.
That seems to be a reoccurring theme for us, being in couch comas the last few weeks. They're hard to get out of. It's very easy to get into one of these couch comas.
Well, especially on NFL Sunday. What better time to do it?
And I got NFL Red Zone, and it just really helps the viewership out when you're watching these games.
So, Griff, this week we're returning a segment. We took a little bye week last week of Blast from the Past.
I think you needed it.
I did. I needed to get my head together after 3 consecutive losses. So,
how are you feeling after that week-long break? Are you feeling refueled, ready to get back into it?
Yep, absolutely. Refueled, re-energized, ready to go. Let's get on with it here, Griff. I got a baseball player here. 10 questions. You know the rules?
I do know the rules, and I'll guess first. Okay, sounds good. So you got a baseball player this week, heading to the Diamond. Did you do football last week? I can't remember. Or 2 weeks ago? I can't remember.
I did, I believe.
Okay, good. All right, so we're switching it up. That's the bottom line here. Question number 1. What team, E, did your player play the majority of his career?
So he actually played, let's see, he had a 12-year career, and he played with 6 teams.
Oh,
so
good heavens.
He bounced around a lot.
Mr. Journeyman.
Right, so he played with the Mets, the Athletics, the Blue Jays, the Red Sox, the Rockies for 1 year, and the Giants.
Oh, no. So he did play for the Rockies.
He did, indeed.
For 1 season. He played the whole season?
2012.
Okay.
Actually, he may have not even played the whole season.
Oh, great.
Because it looks like he played with the Giants in 2012 as well.
It sounds like you really dug deep for this player. That's what this week sounds like.
I do recall this happening. I believe he was a deadline move to San Francisco.
When he played for the Rockies?
Right.
And so we traded him away?
Yep, to the Rockies.
Okay.
To the Giants.
Okay. Question number 2. What position did he play in the majors?
So, similar to the first question you asked, there's multiple answers. He was actually a 2-position guy. He played shortstop and second base.
Shortstop and second base.
He's a middle infielder.
Middle infielder.
Yep.
Okay. Shortstop and second base. Oh boy, you're giving me a grin right now. I think this player is going to be one of those guys that's just it's going to crack me up because I probably haven't thought about the guy in like years.
I guarantee
is that accurate?
You have probably not thought about him since he retired, maybe even before that.
But I have a feeling that it's going to be a good thing that I'm going to think about him because I'm going to have fond memories of this guy.
So for being a journeyman, he actually had a pretty decent career.
Okay. All right, well, let's go to question 3, shall we? Did he ever make like an all-star game? Was he ever that kind of guy? Oh, he did?
He made 1 all-star game in 2013 with the San Francisco Giants.
Okay, 2013. The Giants were known, of course, to have those even year winning World Series kind of thing. So they did not win that World Series in 2013.
This was
I think it was the Red Sox won it in 2013. So.
Right. This was kind of the time period where the Giants were like a premier team in baseball,
Okay.
They were huge.
Okay. Question number 4. What number did he wear in the majors?
He wore number 19.
Oh, for crying out loud. For Pete's sake.
I know that isn't really
Charlie Blackmon? Yeah. No, that's the only player I can think who's number 19, if I'm being honest. But I'm going to do some thinking. I'm going to ask a few more questions, see if I can get a little closer. All right. What are we on here?
Question 4.
Question 4. All right. So where is he from? Like, where did he go to college?
So actually, he's from Venezuela.
I knew it. I knew he was from Venezuela.
I don't buy that.
I know.
Think you did.
I didn't actually. No. Thanks for that info, though. That's really going to help me out. All righty, E. Question number 5. Was this guy a starter when he played? I mean, so he was an all-star in 2013, is what you're telling me. So, I mean, was he a starter for the majority of his career?
Yeah, I would say so. I definitely think he started. I don't want to tell you too much here. But yeah, I mean, he was a starter, but he was, like you said, kind of a journeyman. So he kind of traveled around the league to 6 teams. But especially later in his career, like right before he retired, he really produced. Especially, I would say his most notable playing time was probably with the Giants.
With the Giants?
I would say so.
Okay. Was he a starter with the Rockies?
I believe so.
Okay. Did that count as one of my questions? I'm being told no. Okay, good. You believe he did start for the Rockies?
I do.
Okay. Question number 6.
So I did just fact check that, Griff, before you get on to question number 6.
Okay.
He was the starter for the Colorado Rockies on opening day in 2012.
Okay, at second base.
At second base, and I'll give you this little hint. He actually led the 2012 season for the Rockies at games started at second base. So yes, he was a frequent starter.
Really?
Yep.
All right. Well, question number 6. What, was he a switch hitter, right-handed, left-handed?
So he was a right-handed hitter, and he also threw right-handed.
Okay, so he was right-handed both, is what you're telling me.
Right.
See, I thought you were talking about, throwback name that came to mind here for all you listeners, I thought you were talking about Mark Ellis. But he's not from Venezuela,
This is
I don't
true.
think.
No, he's not.
So,
He's not
last
from
time I
Venezuela.
checked. But it's not going to be Mark Ellis, but that is a name out there for you. That kind of came to mind. Alrighty, well, question 7 then. Does your specific player, does he have any like crazy stories, whether that's with his time with the Rockies or any of his other teams? Like any notable like stories that were kind of big? Whether he had like a crazy walk-off or like maybe something like off the field?
He has a pretty magnificent postseason run, if you will, I guess. He, at some point in his career, won the NLCS MVP.
NLCS MVP. Okay.
Yes. And a fun fact to go along with that, why? I'm just going to tell you, okay?
Okay, yeah.
I got to
Yeah.
get out here for the listeners,
You're
and if
being
I
very-
lose because of this, I want it known.
I know, you're being very nice. This
Okay.
is very polite of you.
So, he was the 2012 NLCS MVP,
Okay.
okay? So, who won the World Series in 2012?
Oh, it was the Giants. So
was the Giants.
so he won the NLCS
So
MVP
he was
with the Giants.
played for the Rockies in 2012. We traded him to the Giants. Okay, the Giants obviously went on to the NLCS, where he won the NLCS MVP.
Okay.
He recorded. This is the crazy stat. He tied the NLCS record with 14 hits. So
14 hits.
in a whole series. He batted over 500. He was incredible.
Wow.
Absolutely incredible.
Why is a name not coming to mind right now, dude?
I'm so glad you didn't get it, because I was worried that this was going to give it away.
Oh, no. Okay. NLCS MVP with the Giants in 2012.
Uh-huh.
He had 14 hits, which is an
14 hits.
NLCS record.
Is
that what you're telling me?
He tied the record.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm going to have to phone a friend. So if all of you remember, a couple weeks back, Elijah phoned a friend in Blast from the Past. His name was Liam. He didn't win that week, but I think I'm going to phone him and give him a second chance here, a little chance at redemption. What do you say?
Let's call Liam. He really did it that last time. So.
Let's call him, shall we? All right, here is Liam. The suspense is real.
Liam, answer.
I really need Liam to come in clutch for me here, because... And he better answer, by the way. Liam? Is this the Liam Stevens?
Indeed, sir.
I think he said, "Indeed, sir."
Oh, indeed, sir. Okay. Well, Liam, I don't know if you remember this, but a couple weeks ago, you did not come in clutch for Elijah. You are on the Showcase Sports Show, by the way.
Oh, really? What was I?
Yes. Yeah, and you didn't really... You guessed Mike Piazza, and it ended up being wrong. Now, I kind of felt bad, so I'm going to give you a second chance here. You're going to be my phone a friend. How does that sound?
Yeah.
Alrighty, well, let's get started, Liam. So, my player, okay, so he's a baseball player. This is what I'm guessing. He played for 6 different teams. He played for the Mets, the A's, the Blue Jays, the Rockies, the Giants, and the Red Sox. Now, he had his best years in, like, 2012. So, he was the NLCS MVP in 2012 when the Giants won the World Series. And then he also played for the Rockies that year, too. He was the opening day starter at second base in 2012. But the Rockies traded him to the Giants in 2012, and then who did he play for in 2013? The Giants too?
Yep.
Okay, but he also played for the Red Sox in like 2010, 2011. But he's from Venezuela, okay, right-handed hitter, also threw right-handed. What else am I missing here, E? Anything else?
I think you got it all.
Ryan
Really.
Rayburn.
No, it is not Ryan Rayburn.
I know that's a guess that you like. You're a big Ryan Rayburn guy, huh?
Liam, you have 30 seconds starting now, okay?
Do you have any questions for me, Liam?
I do not. I have no clue. Is it Jose Reyes?
I don't think it is Jose Reyes, because he was like shortstop majority of his career.
Oh man. was it Wellington Castillo?
Wellington Castillo. That's a catcher, isn't it?
He never
for
played
the Orioles?
Rockies. That's a Mike Piazza comment, Liam. Oh, boy.
I'm not too sure about this, and I'm not sure, man. I'm so sorry, man.
Liam,
I'm gonna have to let
I gave you a
down.
chance, and you broke my heart. But it's okay. I still love you. Okay, that was Liam. He's gone away. But once again, not much help. I think I might be worse off now. No offense, Liam. So 6 teams, 2012 NLCS MVP. Played for the Rockies that season.
You're going to be so upset, dude. Question number 8, or are you ready to mail it in? You seem to be struggling.
This is the first week that we have played this game where I'm struggling, man. I don't know why I can't think of this guy.
You're going to be upset.
He played for the Rockies, and then we traded him, and then he ended up winning the NLCS MVP.
Yep.
He had 14 hits in that series.
Yep.
I don't know how I'm not thinking of this guy. It's going to break my heart.
Are you ready?
I'll guess, just to throw a name out there to... be kind of funny. I'm going to say Omar Quintanilla, but that is so wrong. That is so wrong.
Yeah,
Who
definitely
is it,
not
Who is
Omar
it? Just
Quintanilla.
tell me. Just rip it off. Rip the scab off.
Marco Scutero.
No way.
Yeah.
No way,
Yep,
dude.
it's Marco Scutero, dude.
I have not thought about Marco Scutero
Yep.
in years.
I know. and
You just opened up a realm, and
I
my
know.
mind is blown.
unlocked memories you forgot you had. That's what happened to me when I came
I
across
forgot
his
he
name.
played, dude. Marco
I did
Scutero.
some deep research.
Wow.
Okay? I started getting in weird teams.
Props to you, man.
I actually found him on the 2008 Blue Jays roster, and I was like,
right.
"That's the dude I want."
That's right.
So
he played for the Red Sox, too.
Absolutely.
I remember him in the Red Sox.
Yep,
and
I'm
wow, he
telling
was
you.
on that Giants team. Wow, props to you, man. That was a good one. Well, E, you stumped me with that one. You pulled the old Marco Scutero card on me. It's now my turn to stump you, all right? And we're going to do basketball this time around. And I don't think we've done a basketball player yet. So ask away, man. Ask away. Question number 1. What do you got?
okay, let's do position. Obviously,
Okay, so my player was he's a shooting guard.
a 2. Okay,
Yeah, he was a shooting guard.
All right, give me the teams. Question number 2: the teams he played with.
He played for, wow, I don't know who this team is, but that's technically a team. So he played for the Yakima Sun Kings. Okay, that was his first ever team he played with. But then he ended up playing with the 76ers, Mavericks, Jazz, Suns, Bobcats, and the Golden State Warriors. And the Utah Jazz at the end of his career. So I believe that is, let me do my math here. That's 8 teams that he's played for, if you're including the Yakima Sun Kings.
What college did he go to?
He actually went to 2 colleges, so this might not be helping you out very much. But he played for Boston University from 94 to 96, and then he played for FIU from 97 to 99.
What? FIU has a basketball team?
Yes, and they produced this gem of a player.
Okay,
That's
all
right.
So he went to Boston U from 94 to 96.
Yep.
FIU from 97 to 99. Did he make any All-Star games?
He didn't, but I will give you a couple hints. He was an NBA All-Defensive First Team in 2007 and an NBA All-Defensive Second Team in 2008, the next year.
Second team in 2008. Okay. Oh, man. All right. Next question here. Was this 4, 5?
I believe this is question 4.
4.
Question 4, yes.
Was he a shooter? Did he like to drive the lane? Mid-range guy? But he's strictly
no,
defense?
he wasn't really a shooter. He was definitely more defensive, but his career NBA statistics, so he averaged 9.9 points per game. So he averaged like 10 a game. But he was a starter.
Okay. He was a starter, huh?
For a majority of his career, yes.
All right, Griff. I'm going to go ahead and phone a friend here. I'm calling my buddy Reed. He actually works with us. He's one of our basketball analysts.
Okay.
At Showcase Sports Media.
This kid's very knowledgeable. I'm nervous.
I'm nervous. He is. Let's call him. Here we go.
Okay, here we go.
Reed?
Yes.
Hey, Reed. It's Elijah.
Reed, what's going on, man?
Nothing much.
Thanks for coming on the podcast.
So you're on Showcase Sports Show right now, okay? And Griff gave me a basketball player, and I need help guessing who it is, okay?
All right.
So he played at 2 colleges, Boston University from 94 to 96, and then FIU from 97 to 99. Then he joined the NBA in 2001 when he played for the 76ers. So we went from the 76ers to the Mavericks to the Suns to the Bobcats to the Warriors and then to the Jazz. He's a shooting guard.
He played for the Jazz in between the Mavericks and Suns, too. So he played for the Jazz
Raja
twice.
Bell.
Wait, say that again?
Raja Bell.
Oh my gosh, it definitely could be Raja Bell. Okay, well, he was the NBA All-Defense 2007 and All-Defensive Second Team in 2008. Do you think that's Raja Bell?
I know he started on Philadelphia because I know that he was like they didn't play him at all for the regular season, but that 2001 finals team was just so depleted that they basically forced him to play. and he ended up doing really well. So I know he played it. So I know he played in Philly in 2001, and then I know he played during the 2006 Suns run, and I'm pretty sure he was on the Bobcats.
I think you might be right.
That's some good
Reed.
info, whether it's Rajah Bell or not.
Reed, that is wow, some great information. Thank you for that. All right. Well, I think I'm going to lock on my answer. Reed, do you want to stay on the phone to see if you're right?
Sure.
All right, Griff, I think I'm going to lock in my answer. Rajah Bell.
It's actually Boris Diaw. No, just kidding. It is Rajah Bell.
Oh, okay, dude,
Yeah,
you
it
scared
is.
me.
No, yeah. Rajah Bell is correct.
Boris Diaw on an all-defensive team. What?
Yeah, you're right. I know.
Yeah, I was like,
a-
that doesn't sound right.
That was a
That's-
silly joke of
Yeah.
mine.
Anyway, all right, Reed. Well, thanks for the dub, man. I'm 1-3, thanks to you. So,
Hey, congrats, Reed. Enjoy it.
all right, Reed. Well,
If you guys call Tyler about this and he gets it wrong, I'm gonna rub it in his face.
Okay.
all right, we might have to call Tyler. Anyway, Reed, thanks for the call, man. We'll talk to you later.
See you, man.
Yeah. See.
Just brutal. I
Dude,
got screwed.
That was impressive. I'm not gonna lie. I knew that he was a
Rajah
very
Bell.
wow.
Were you gonna guess that?
I actually did have him in the back of my mind. I was like, man,
Okay.
that sounds familiar. So,
Well-
because I do remember him on the Suns and I do remember him on the Jazz, but I didn't think about him on the Sixers though.
Yeah.
So,
Well, yeah.
But-
We're just gonna have to. I'm gonna have to step it up next week. That's just what this
Rajah
means.
Bell, that was a good one, Griff.
This is gonna have to. This is gonna fuel my my competitive drive for next week's segment.
Well, there you go. I am 1-3. Griffin is 3-1.
Stay tuned next week.
Yep. Game 5 next week. All right, Griff, let's move on to the hardwood here. We have Game 7, Tuesday night. We have the Clippers and the Nuggets. What are your thoughts on that game?
Well, I can't believe it, honestly, that the Nuggets were able to pull this one off. They're one game away from becoming the first team in NBA history to come back from 3-1 deficits in the same postseason. So, not only were they the 12th team to do that just in a 3-1 series, but they can become the first team in NBA history. It's crazy. They're showing a lot of fight, this Nuggets team. By the time this episode gets released, unfortunately, we will know who wins that game. It's going to be crazy. Game 7, Clippers will be ready. The Nuggets should have that same focus and intensity for Game 7 as well.
Absolutely. Something that's really stood out to me about the Nuggets is I haven't really seen a whole lot of teams that play this much better when their back is up against the wall.
Right.
The first 3-4 games of the series, they look like trash.
I
like
agree.
especially Game 1, and I think it was Game 3, and they got blown out. They looked awful, you
Yeah.
know. But now that their backs are up against the wall, they did the same thing with Utah. Actually, not even that. The last 4 playoff series that the Nuggets have played in have gone to Game 7, dating back to last year with the Spurs, and then they obviously ended up winning that and taking on the Trailblazers.
And I think that's also, I don't think a team has ever done that either, playing 4 straight Game 7 playoff series.
It's crazy. A lot of the excuses, for lack of a better term, of this team not making it farther last year and the year before was due to inexperience and this just being a super young team. Well, what better way to age a team and get them, playoff ready and have that experience than to go to 4 straight Game 7s?
Right.
That's insane.
It's crazy. It's wild. The Nuggets, let me tell you, they're getting just production from all kinds of role players outside of Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. Michael Porter Jr. has really added a spark to this Nuggets offense and is also playing better on defense. I know his defense was kind of suspect earlier in the playoffs and kind of those games before the playoffs in the bubble. But in guys like Gary Harris, I think he was so undervalued by Denver fans, even just I think maybe the organization, the NBA as a whole, just the way he plays defense and sometimes every now and then can put up 20 points a game. Boy, if the Nuggets could have that scoring offensive production from Gary Harris, it makes this Nuggets team way more dangerous.
I totally agree. I guess Gary Harris was kind of the X factor that a lot of people did not see coming back from injury. I think without him, the Nuggets either get swept or they lose in 5. And I really do believe that. He has changed the entire momentum. But a guy I got to tip my hat to after I'm the biggest critic of him, I'm not a big Paul Millsap guy, okay? It's known. All my friends and family know I'm not a big Paul Millsap guy.
Mr. Third Quarter, Paul Millsap.
But let's just
last
say
couple games.
he has taken over the nickname from Paul George. He is the new playoff P.
He is. He is.
Without Paul Millsap being on that team, the Nuggets, they don't win Game 5 or 6, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He turned the tide in both games. I believe it was Game 5. He ended up scoring 16 points, I think, in the third quarter to absolutely turn the tide. He didn't really play a whole lot in the fourth quarter, which I thought was a mistake. But,
Right.
yeah, he turned the game around. Without him, that momentum never gets switched, and the Nuggets lose in 5.
Right.
So I think Paul Millsap and Gary Harris kind of win co-MVPs this playoff series for the Nuggets. Something to watch for, though, I think it's going to be really interesting to see what Paul George does in Game 7. I think it really depends on him, whether who's going to win. If he returns to actual Paul George form and drops 25 to 30 points, I think this is the Clippers game to lose. But again, he hasn't really done that a whole lot. He has not played very well all series long. So I think he's kind of an X factor right there. And Gary Harris and Torrey Craig, to see if those guys can kind of not necessarily continue to shut down Paul George, but I mean, I guess, continue to shut him down and kind of hold Kawhi in check as best as they can. Obviously, he's a top 5 player in the league, so he's going to do what he does. But Griff, give me a prediction for this Game 7.
First off, before we get into that, what is going on with the LA Clippers? Because this is not just this series kind of thing.
The wheels are falling off.
This isn't the first time we've seen this from the Clippers this season. I believe the Clippers, I think they have choked 15-point leads. I believe it's 7 times now in the NBA. That's good for most in the NBA. Give all the credit to the Nuggets and whatsoever. But the Clippers are struggling, and they can't find a way to close the door. And if they want to be a championship team, you got to find a way to close the door, and they're not doing that. Kind of the same thing with the Nuggets. I think the Nuggets, if they are going to go play the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals, they cannot go down 3-1 to LeBron James and AD. They cannot do that again. So they need to start off better. But for the Clippers, they just can't close the door. I mean, what is going on with the Clippers?
I agree. I'm not honestly entirely too sure. I think one thing that's really playing into it is, again, to just keep bagging on Paul George here, but he just continuously gets into foul trouble. Doc Rivers even said something today about how he needs to stay out of foul trouble to really keep the Clippers in the game. Because without Paul George on that team, the Nuggets might even be better, quite honestly. I mean, I don't think the Nuggets are that far away from being better than the Clippers anyway. I think if Paul George plays to his full potential, the Clippers are better. But I think this whole game, this whole series, literally depends on Paul George.
Yep.
So if he plays better, you're going to see a close game, but probably a Clippers win. But if he plays mediocre or below average, they're toast, man. And you can seal the deal on the Nuggets coming back and being the first team ever to return 3-1 leads.
See, this is what I think. I think even if Paul George and Kawhi go off for 30 points in Game 7, I still think they lose. I really do. I think the Clippers need their role players to really come up big. They need Lou Williams, Marcus Morris, Zubac, not Graham Harrell, Montrezl Harrell, excuse me. Not Graham Harrell, the former Texas Tech quarterback, Green Bay Packer backup, not him. Montrezl Harrell. They're going to need him to really step it up. Last time I checked, I think his minus for the whole series was like minus 38 or something for Montrezl Harrell. So it's been bad.
I haven't seen that before, but I have noticed when Zubac is in the game, he makes a more substantial difference than I think when Harrell is. I don't know. Yeah, I think you're right. The role players need to step up, but for the Nuggets to win this game, who needs to step up for them?
I think it's the role players for the Nuggets as well. It's guys like Paul Millsap, Michael Porter Jr., even guys like Monte Morris and Mason Plumlee. If they can contribute in any way possible, I think that's going to help the Nuggets a lot. Kind of like what, MPJ kind of went out to the media the other day and was saying, hey, we need other guys than Jokic and Murray to step up. And he's exactly right. I mean, they're going to need those guys to step up if they want to win this Game 7.
Absolutely. So Game 7 prediction, Griff, what you got?
I will go the Denver Nuggets. I remember a few weeks ago I did have the Nuggets playing the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals.
You did.
A few weeks ago when we did our little NBA preview podcast. So I'm going to go the Nuggets in 7 here, just because of the way they've been able to be resilient and come back in this series. So I do have them playing the Lakers. What do you think? Do you think the Clippers are toast?
I do. I think it's going to be the Nuggets 101-94.
Yep. Now, do you think the Nuggets, real quick before we move on to the next segment, do you think the Nuggets or the Clippers kind of pose a better matchup, I guess, for the Lakers? Or who do you think the Lakers would rather play? That's kind of what I'm asking.
Oh, man, I'm not sure. I think the Nuggets technically match up better with the Lakers, but I think the Clippers just have more talent, more star power. Kawhi is a very terrifying person to play in the playoffs. So I think the Lakers would rather play the Nuggets, even though they match up better with the Clippers.
Yep.
But I don't know. I think it's going to be a good series either way, no matter who wins. I think that it's going to go to 6 or 7 games. So.
Okay. Well, all right. You got our picks from us. Keep in mind that Game 7 is on Tuesday. We will have a winner by the time we film next week. So it's either going to be Clippers-Lakers or Lakers-Nuggets.
Absolutely. Moving on, Griff, to the Eastern side of things. Eastern Conference Finals are official. We have the Miami Heat versus the Boston Celtics. Griff, give us a little preview. What do you think?
Yeah, both teams playing real well in the bubble. Of course, the Heat they've just been getting monster performances from Jimmy Butler, guys like that. Celtics playing well, though, too. It's going to be the Jason Tatum versus Jimmy Butler show. I couldn't think of any two teams in the Eastern Conference that are playing better right now. I mean, these are the two teams that should be in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Both teams have earned it. The Miami Heat are 8-1 to start the NBA Finals this year, which is just insane. They swept the Pacers and then went on and beat the Bucks in 5, who were the heavy East favorite. So that's really interesting to see the Heat catching fire right now. I think they're a really solid team. Going back to our prediction that you were talking about, you had the Lakers and the Nuggets. I actually had the Heat going to the finals.
Wow.
So they still stand strong for me. I think they're kind of still my bet to win this series. But don't get me wrong, got to give credit to Boston. I still really like Jason Tatum. I think he's going to be a premier player in this league. I think he already almost is. I think the Celtics, though, they really battled and really fought with the Raptors. That was not an easy win by any means, you know?
Yep.
So yeah, that was a heck of a series between them. I think they're really a strong team and definitely could go to the finals, but I think I have the Heat in 6.
Okay. Yeah, I do think the Celtics have a better team. I truly do that. I think the Heat are really just riding that hot wave right now, man. They're on fire.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, they 8-1 in the playoffs. They've only lost one time.
They have a chip on their shoulder, man. Jimmy Butler is a scary dude right now.
He's just unbelievable. He's playing like a Jimmy Butler that I have never seen before.
Right.
He's playing the best he's ever played in his career. I do think the Celtics have a better team. Their record shows that in the regular season. The Celtics were 48-24. Heat were 44-29. Man, I have this thing going 7 games, but I think the Celtics are going to prevail. I'm going to disagree with you. I think the Celtics are going to go to the NBA Finals. I think they have a deeper team. I think they just get more contribution from their role players a little bit more. But yeah, I think Jimmy Butler's really going to have to take to that next level, championship level that I know he can play at. I'm not counting out the Heat. Like I said, I have this series going 7 games. I'm going to stick with the Celtics. Just kind of like the Nuggets, just everything they've kind of gone through in this playoff bubble. They beating the Raptors in 7 games. So I do have the Celtics winning in 7 games and going to the NBA Finals.
I'm changing my answer. I still have the Heat, but I have them in 7 with you.
Okay.
So there
we're
you
both
have
going
it.
7.
We both have Game 7 in the
right.
Eastern Conference Finals between the Heat and the Celtics. Griff's taking the Celtics. I'm taking the Heat. Griff, staying in the Eastern Conference here. Some things coming up with Giannis already about him wanting to leave in free agency.
That's right. I saw that.
The Bucks apparently pitched him. It came out to the public today that they pitched to him and told him, hey, we're going to spend a lot of money on a supporting cast for you, things like that. My thought on that is it's incredibly concerning that that's being released to the public right now, because that already kind of tells me that the Bucks are a little nervous about him leaving, and they're already trying to start pitching themselves and get him to stay.
Yeah.
That's concerning to me. I mean, I'm sure it happens all the time behind closed doors, but I don't know. It seems almost a bit desperate right away to be coming out and saying that. I think there's a lot of teams in the league that are very, very attractive to Giannis. Maybe not from like a big market standpoint from like New York or LA, but places like I really think he'd fit in Miami, maybe even Houston.
Sure.
Of course, the rumor for like 3 years has been that he's going to go to the Warriors. I don't know. I think there's a lot more attractive places in the league for Giannis than Milwaukee, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting that they publicly came out and said that, and I think it's just because of the rumors that have been swirling around about Giannis and about how he might be leaving, and how he might not even play another game in a Bucks uniform.
Right.
So I think this answers the question of, I think Giannis does end up staying maybe a year or 2. But you do see a lot of these NBA teams, of course, building around their superstars with these role players, but they're not necessarily coming out and publicly saying that they're doing that. So
Sure.
I thought it was interesting that the Bucks did do that. But it is encouraging for the Bucks fans and whoever's involved in that Milwaukee franchise. All right, let's talk some Stanley Cup playoffs. And how about the Dallas Stars? 1 win away from the Stanley Cup finals. They're just finding ways to win, even when they're not necessarily dominating the Knights. What's going on in that series?
It's been a fun series to watch. The Stars, I think, are a lot better than a lot of people thought. Definitely better than I thought. I honestly didn't think they stood much of a chance against the Golden Knights, but they're kind of doing the same thing to the Knights that they did to the Avalanche, just really kind of suffocating them with their defense and being able to control the puck for the majority of the games. I don't know, the Stars have looked really good, and now they're 1 game away from going to the Cup Finals. Crazy.
Right. It's hard to ignore performances from their goaltender, Anton Khudobin, who has pretty much just been blanking the Golden Knights. The Stars are even getting outshot in, I think, every game they've played, actually, in this series. They have been outshot, kind of similar to that Avalanche series that they were in. So the Stars are they're really counting on these timely goals and really just banking in on these almost clutch plays, it seems like.
Absolutely. You're seeing a lot of their veterans, kind of step up. Pavelski, guys like that, really kind of making the dream work,
Yeah, I mean, hey, the Golden Knights, just look at their last series against the Vancouver Canucks. They were up 3-1 in that series. Now they're down 3-1 against the Dallas Stars. So maybe they can kind of use that experience from last round. Like I said, the Canucks did end up forcing a Game 7 against the Knights in that series. So, maybe the Knights can kind of take away a little something from that series. But yeah, like like I said, the numbers aren't looking good for the Knights right now. The last 35 series, the teams who've had that 3-1 lead have won 34 of those 35 times, and that's also 91% of the time. So I think the Knights are in trouble here. The Avs went down 3-1, forced a Game 7 against the Stars, but just couldn't quite close the Stars out. I think the Stars are just rolling right now.
Absolutely, I totally agree. Do you see any chance for the Knights to squeak this one out?
I don't. I really don't. I think the season might be over for the Vegas Golden Knights.
Moving on to the eastern side of things, we have the Islanders and the Lightning. The Lightning are up 3-1. Griff, tell me what's going on in this series.
Hey, this series hasn't been close either. I've been high on the Lightning. The Islanders have had just a phenomenal playoff run here, but they're down 3-1 as well. Both series and both conferences not really close right now. So I hate to say that it's over in both series, but I really do think it is. I think the Lightning are just playing on another level right now. They're playing with just this fire that some of these other teams I think are kind of lacking. And I think, honestly, that's going to win them the whole dang thing.
I totally agree here. I think the Lightning right now playing like the best team in hockey, and I think they actually are the best team in hockey. They're just much better than the Islanders, I think, Like in the other series, I don't think the Stars are much better than the Knights. Actually, I think the Knights are better, but they're just playing better. They have that momentum. In this series, I think the Lightning have the momentum, and they're just a better team.
Right.
So I really see zero shot here for the Islanders to squeak this one out in 7. I think they're going to finish them off in 5 or 6.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you on that one. I could see the Islanders maybe winning another game, maybe forcing the series to go 6. But I think the Lightning are too good, just like you were saying. The thing that I've noticed in this series is just the way that the Lightning have been dominating the power play. I mean, the way they have just drawn penalties against the Islanders, I mean, it sets up chances for them and puts them in a better position to win games. Well, let's head for the diamond to talk about baseball's second no-hitter of the year. Pitcher Alec Mills for the Chicago Cubs blanked the Brewers 12-0. What a story this kid's got. Do you want to kind of fill everybody in on who Alec Mills is all about?
Absolutely. So he, coming out of high school, had 0 offers to play college ball. He ended up walking on to University of Tennessee Martin. So UT Martin walks on the field and tells the coach, I can throw better than a lot of your guys. Give me a tryout. So sure enough, the coach listened, gave him a tryout, and Mills made the team, played there, and then was drafted in the 22nd round by the Chicago Cubs. Now he's worked his way up through the system. Didn't he have a Tommy John injury too?
Yeah, he actually suffered from Tommy John surgery, had that injury in 2013. I mean, this kid's got a crazy story. This is only his 15th start in the majors. Yep. So to do this on this stage, biggest stage in baseball, pretty impressive for Alec Mills.
Yeah, absolutely. So he has Tommy John, gets drafted in the 22nd round by the Cubs, and goes up to the majors and throws a no-hitter in his 15th start. So pretty amazing stuff there. His stuff was working. He looked great out there against the Brewers.
Yeah, and it's interesting too. He only had 6 starts coming into the season. Of course, he kind of made way into that Chicago Cubs rotation because of that injury to Jose Quintana. Congrats to Alec Mills. He really just delivered for the Cubs.
Absolutely. Another congratulations out to Albert Pujols. He broke some records.
Yeah. So Albert Pujols tying Willie Mays for 5th all-time on the home runs list at 660 career home runs. Hit I think it was a 2-run shot to actually give the Angels the lead. He hit it off Colorado Rockies reliever Carlos Estevez, which, of course he does it against the Rockies. It seems like, I remember a couple of years ago, Ichiro, I think he got his 3,000th hit at Coors Field.
He did,
So But you can blame it on Coors Field, blame it on, just the Rockies.
Yeah, I blame the Rockies.
Okay, yeah. You can blame Carlos Estevez if you want. I know he's kind of having a rough year. I honestly think he's kind of a bum too. But hey, congrats to Albert Pujols. That is such an accomplishment. It's the biggest stat in baseball, hitting home runs. So congrats to Albert Pujols.
All right, Griff, let's head back over to the gridiron. Week 1 kicked off this last weekend. Obviously, the Texans and the Chiefs played on Thursday night. Games continued into Sunday and Monday. Griff, what were your opening thoughts of this week?
Yeah, I think the biggest question mark over this weekend was the play of Tom Brady. That was just a big game between the Buccaneers and Saints. He looked just human,
He didn't look great.
I think he now has 3 straight games of throwing a pick 6. I know he's kind of learning that new system over there in Tampa, and I know the Saints are definitely Super Bowl contenders, but, a lot of, I think, questions for concern. Now, there is one thing that I have learned being a football fan and following the NFL over the past 2 decades, and it's not to doubt Tom Brady. Don't ever doubt Tom Brady. I'm sure he's going to be fine, but it's definitely a hiccup, and the Buccaneers are going to have to figure it out.
I totally agree. I mean, he had 2 interceptions, and he had a 34.6 quarterback rating, which is not good. It's
Right.
not good by any stretch. So the Buccaneers, in order to make a playoff run, are going to really need him to step up. But let's be honest, it's Tom Brady, like you said. They're going to be just fine.
Yep.
They're probably going to go 10-6 and make a wild card game. I don't know. I think they'll be just fine. But a couple other games around the league, very interesting. The Cardinals and the 49ers, the Super Bowl runner-ups, lost 24-20 to Kyler Murray and company down there. DeAndre Hopkins, wow, man, he had a hell of a game down there making his Arizona Cardinal debut. He had 14 catches and 151 yards. Wow, you want to talk about being a focal point in that offense now. Oh my gosh. Are the Cardinals a team to look out for?
I think they are. I really do think so. I think they have the pieces to at least make a playoff run. I think they are still a couple years away from, contending for that Super Bowl trophy. Hey, watch out for the Cardinals in the division. I think they could maybe sneak into a wild card berth.
I totally agree, Griff. I put this in the preview that article that we wrote this past weekend. If you guys haven't read that yet, check it out at showcasesportsmedia.com. Griff and I did a little NFL preview breakdown of every team and their predicted record. I had the Cardinals at 7-9, but I put in the description that they're a wild card. They really are. They picked up two major additions this last offseason in DeAndre Hopkins and Isaiah Simmons. Simmons didn't play too hot last week, but man, I did a little scouting on him, and he is a freak athlete. He can just kind of run all over the field and play multiple positions. He's not really a safety, not really a linebacker, not really a corner. He's just kind of a football player.
Right.
He plays all the positions. So that is definitely a team to look out for. I think they're very scary. I think they're going to go 7-9, but I could easily see them going, 5-11, 6-10, or 9-7.
Right.
And being in contention for a wild card. I don't know. That team's kind of scary. I wouldn't want to play them later in the year.
Sure. And don't forget, too, it all comes down to just the development of Kyler Murray in his second season. It's going to be very critical if the Cardinals want to reach the postseason this season for him to take that next step from his rookie season.
Right. I totally agree. And he definitely looked good against the Niners. Yeah, it's going to be exciting to watch that team. I kind of think, I don't know, what are your thoughts on the 49ers after week one?
George Kittle, I think it came down in the news today. He came down with that knee sprain. Who knows how long he's going to be out there for the 49ers. So, I think that the Niners are still a playoff team, but I could easily see the Niners kind of having that down year, coming off the Super Bowl, having that Super Bowl hangover, and going 8-8, 9-7, just missing the playoffs. They got to fix some things from what I saw yesterday. I think they got to be better in a lot of areas.
Absolutely. Well, moving on here, Griff, I kind of need to make an apology for something I said last week.
Oh, no.
It already kind of...
What did you do?
It kind of bit me in the butt already. Dwayne Haskins, okay?
Oh, boy.
So, I did not...
Here we go.
I really kind of criticized him heavily in our preview last week on this pod. Don't get me wrong, I still stand by the majority of what I said, that I don't think he's going to pan out to be very good. But I really underestimated him as a leader. He led the not the Redskins, the Washington football team.
Watch yourself there, yeah.
The football team scored 27 unanswered points to come back from a 17-0 deficit to end up beating the Philadelphia Eagles, the heavily favored Philadelphia Eagles, 27-17. Something I really saw out of Dwayne Haskins was his leadership. He's on the bench chatting up his guys, getting them pumped up and ready to go, make this comeback. He really, I think, is a tremendous leader. Again, still don't know if his quarterback play is there, but I needed to apologize for at least criticizing him from that standpoint. But yeah, wow, what a win for the Redskins. Gosh, my bad, Griff. I mean the football team. The football team won and beat the Eagles, not the Redskins.
It's going to take some getting used to, man. It is really going to take some getting used to.
I'm still out here saying San Diego Chargers.
I know. I'm pretty sure you said that last week.
So by 2024...
We had some hate callers call into the, after us. We did the podcast, and they were trashing you for that.
By 2024, I hope to get the name Redskins out of my head.
I believe in you.
That's the goal.
Well, yeah, I mean, going back to Washington, I like what you're saying about Dwayne Haskins. He did show that leadership on the sideline, which you and me were watching the game, but we thought it was pretty impressive what he was doing. I just think he's average. I mean, the stats, he was 17-31, 178 yards, touchdown. He didn't win this game for the Redskins.
No.
I'm sorry, the football team.
See?
He didn't win this game. It was the defense, and some would say that Carson Wentz gave him this game.
He did. He actually served it on a
what in
platter.
God's name are the Eagles doing? They're up 17-0, and they give up 27 unanswered points to a team that I have in our preview that we wrote, our article. I have them going 2-14, so they're already halfway to their win total that I have them going.
I had them at 3-13, so it's much of a difference.
So I don't know what Carson Wentz is doing or the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, they had 8 sacks. Washington. I mean, credit the defense. Chase Young got in there a couple times.
Big part of it, though, is the Eagles have lost a lot of offensive line pieces.
Yeah.
They lost Dillard and someone else to a season-ending injury, I believe. I think it's their other tackle.
Okay.
So they're missing both their tackles. Yeah, not good.
Yeah, I mean, ever since Carson Wentz, I think he hit Dallas Goedert there to make it 17-0. But since then, it was just all Washington. And boy, the Eagles.
Yeah, what a rough game.
I don't know what's going on there.
Speaking of another rough game for someone, Griff, I hear you have some beef with someone.
Oh, my gosh.
Here we go. Idiot of the week.
If you were watching this game between the L.A. Chargers and the Cincinnati Bengals, you were in for a treat, unless you're a Bengals fan, of course. But how about this? Joe Burrow, his first ever game, driving this team down the field to win the game. They were down 16-13. They're in field goal range, and then they're going for the touchdown, right? So Burrow throws the ball to A.J. Green, who I think catches the ball in the end zone. I think did they rule it a touchdown? I don't know what the call was, but they did. It was offensive PI on A.J. Green, so it didn't count whatsoever. So that led to a field goal chance to try to tie it up and take the Chargers into OT. And what do you know? Randy Bullock comes out, who's I think is a pretty decent kicker, before yesterday, that is. So Randy Bullock comes out with the Bengals, lines up for a 31-yard chip shot. And as a professional kicker, you got to be able to hit these, right? I mean, this is a chip shot. It's shorter than an extra point. What's an extra point? 37 yards?
Something like that. Yeah,
right.
I think you're right.
Oh, boy, this is just grinding my gears talking about it. But, yeah, Randy Bullock lines up for the 31-yard field goal. Holder takes the snap, puts it down, laces out, just like how you're supposed to, right? Laces out. That's what kickers tell you to do. Laces out. He makes contact with his right foot, and it was almost one of those things. Right when he made contact, you knew it was going right. It was such a shank job. It was such a shank job, and I'm not even sure it was such a shank job. That Randy Bullock, I'm pretty sure he faked the injury. I'm not really sure. I haven't really seen the injury report this Monday.
Well, I have
day after the games.
I have the injury report right
here.
Oh my god! Because I knew this moment was coming.
So, anyways, Randy Bullock, he kicks the ball and sees that he shanks it and immediately starts limping, like he just blew off his hamstring. It looked like he got shot.
Here's what happened. He misses the field goal, starts grabbing his leg, okay?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, wow, and Bullock is injured on the field, whatever.
If you don't know by now, he's the idiot of the week, by the way, Randy Bullock.
He limps off, okay? The practice injury report right here, okay?
Okay.
It shows Randy Bullock on there. He was limited in today's practice.
Oh, my gosh.
And it says he hurt his calf, okay?
Oh, my gosh.
But at the same time, it doesn't say calf. It says calves.
He injured both?
Apparently,
how do you do that?
Apparently, Randy Bullock has injured both calves.
Oh,
and
that's not good.
He's questionable for next week's game due to 2 calf injuries.
Well, in that case, I'm so sorry, Randy Bullock. I didn't know both of your calves got injured. I'm so sorry.
And he said in the post-game interview that it happened on the kick. So somehow
what is he doing? He has one job. What was he doing? How do you get injured?
Somehow
kicking
this man
a ball
has injured both of his calves on less than a PAT attempt. Okay, this is like, what was the guy's name? The kicker for the Cardinals who hit the game winner and jumped up in the air and tore his ACL.
Grammatica. What was his first name? Roberto or something?
Something like that.
Yeah, it's just the most kicker thing kickers are already low key, not even football players. But the fact that Randy Bullock pulled this stunt yesterday. It just doesn't bode well for kickers all around the league.
Hey, be nice. His calves hurt, okay?
Heck yeah. I hope he gets them massaged or something as the trainer really work on them.
So there it is. Randy Bullock. That's Griff's Idiot of the Week.
Well, it blew it for the NFL Pick'em for me, too, because we're in a Pick'em, and he cost me a lot of money. So, and I've learned with this Pick'em, dude, don't ever trust kickers, man. If the game's coming down to a kicker, unless you're like Adam Vinatieri, one of the greatest kickers of all time, just don't trust him.
Not true. Vinatieri blew it for you last year too.
I know, but it's because he made it. I shouldn't have doubted that guy. He drilled like a 50-yarder.
Well, I'll tell you who screwed me. It was Matt Gay.
Yeah,
that guy. Yeah. For good reason that guy is out of the league.
Him and Randy Bullock are public enemy number one. I think.
I agree.
For a lot of people.
My new public enemy number one, even though actually it helped me out with the pick'em. Okay.
Yeah.
Helped me out with the pick'em. Boy, DeAndre Swift. Not a good look for your first game in a Detroit Lions uniform.
Oh, my
But hey, he looks more like a Detroit Lions football player than ever. What else? That's all they do is lose over there in Detroit. Well, so what does this guy do? Okay, they're driving down for the game-winning touchdown.
Yeah.
Matt Stafford hits him in the end zone with 6 seconds left to win the game, and he just has butterfingers. It goes right out of his hands, man. I'm not kidding you. My grandma could have caught that ball.
Oh, my
It was so easy. DeAndre Swift drops the ball, Lions lose.
He went to the movie theater before the game and had a big thing of large popcorn just smothered in butter. I mean,
smothered in butter.
Yeah, no grip on those hands.
There you go. There you have it. DeAndre Swift smothered in butter this last week. Anyway, the Bears ended up taking the 27-23
That was a heartbreaking
win.
loss. That was his first ever game, too.
It was.
I think Swift's actually a good player, too.
I do, too.
He's got to be the sickest man in America, or at least yesterday.
Well, that or Matt Stafford, man. I mean, Matt Stafford almost blew it by,
but he put his team in position to win it.
He did.
And the Lions pulled the Lions and blew it. I mean, I couldn't believe it. It was just almost too good to be true. It was scripted.
Lions are gonna Lions.
All right, E, let's each pick one game that we find kind of intriguing for Week 2, since, we're not going to be on the air by the time Week 2 is underway. So, what's kind of your one game that you're looking forward to in Week 2 in the NFL?
Sunday Night Football, we have the New England Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks.
Okay.
That's going to be a very interesting matchup. I think the Seahawks are real contenders. I think that defense is improved. I think their offense is improved. I think that's a team that could really go the distance this year. Kind of a wild card team for me in the NFL this year, though, is the Pats. I don't really know what they're going to look like. They lost a lot of key pieces on defense due to the opt-outs. Patrick Chung, Dante Hightower, guys like that. But the real X factor here is Cam Newton. Is Cam Newton going to go back to, 2015 Cam Newton or anything even close to that? Because if he does, then all of a sudden the Patriots are kind of a scary team that I wouldn't want to play. I think, honestly, this is kind of a match made in heaven with Bill Belichick and Cam Newton, because I think if anybody can build a game plan around Cam Newton's strengths, it's Belichick. So, yeah, what are your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I think that we're still trying to figure out the Pats, kind of like what you were saying. Cam looked good yesterday for the most part. I think he didn't throw a whole lot. I think he only had, 19 attempts through the air.
He had 19 attempts. He went 15 for 19, 155 yards.
Okay.
But he had 15 carries for 75 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, see, he did most of his damage on the ground.
Right.
And I think the Pats are going to need Cam Newton to stay healthy. And he's such a big body, Cam Newton. So, if he can kind of be like that guy, even just like a fraction of what he was in his MVP year, I think the Patriots can definitely win some games and make the playoffs. And as for the Seahawks, like you were saying, they are definitely Super Bowl contenders. I actually like them more than the 49ers coming into the year.
I do too.
I think the Seahawks really have a shot to go all the way. So I think that's a very intriguing game. Well, E, for my game of the week here in Week 2, it's going to have to be the Indianapolis Colts going up against the Minnesota Vikings. Both teams underperformed, E, in Week 1. The Vikings let up 43 points to Aaron Rodgers. I mean, holy cow, were they even covering anybody in that game?
No
Devontae
kidding.
Adams had either 3 or 4 touchdowns. Something absurd like that.
He had 2. He had 2 touchdowns.
Okay, it seemed like he had 2 just because of how easily they were passing the ball there through the air. So, the Vikings, I know they have a better defense than that. For now, I'm going to say that it's just the rust in the Week 1, not having that training camp or the preseason games. So, the Vikings could also very well be a playoff team. And then you have the Indianapolis Colts who, choked that lead against the Jacksonville Jaguars in Week 1.
Brutal.
Phillip Rivers threw just a costly pick in the end there. Jags just had some timely scores and some timely stops on defense. So I think that is an interesting game for Week 2. I think it's a critical game for both teams that are 0-1.
Yeah, I really agree. I think, like you had kind of said, both teams really underperformed Week 1. It'll be interesting to see these two match up. But my gosh, the Vikings defense made Aaron Rodgers look like the best Aaron Rodgers we've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, he went 32 for 44, 365 yards, and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a 93 QBR.
Right.
Keep in mind, QBR is out of 100.
Right.
So he scored pretty much 93 out of 100, which is miraculous. It's amazing. If you get a pretty much anywhere in the 80s QBR, that's a good game
For sure.
He had 93. It's going to be interesting to see Aaron Rodgers if he can kind of continue to do that throughout the year. But going back to the Vikings, their defense has got to step it up. And a big thing for me, Dalvin Cook has to step it up. He did score twice, and he had 50 yards, but he only had 12 carries, so I think he needs to get the ball more. They need to run the offense more through Dalvin Cook. 12 carries, 50 yards from a guy who you just paid an exuberant amount of money to in an extension. He's got to step up and become that focal point in that offense like he was last year.
Yeah, not good enough. I think Madison was more efficient on the ground, actually. Their backup running back.
He got the same amount of yards and half the carries.
Right.
And a lot of that was due to a 21-yard run. But the thing is the Vikings got to go back to what they were doing last year. Run it through Cook and then let Cousins be that second focal point in that offense. Him and that Thielen connection is just so good, especially when it's off the play action, especially when you're getting the defense to really set up for those Cook runs inside. So I think Dalvin Cook needs to step up, and I think he needs to get more opportunities to step up. That's going to be kind of, goal number one, I think, for the Vikings. But as far as the Colts go, yeah, I totally agree with what you were saying. Phillips got to protect the ball a little bit more. I said on the episode that we brought Isaac on, look out for Paris Campbell. And sure enough, man, he balled out.
Yeah.
Phillip Rivers really, really loves those slot guys.
Yeah, I think the Jags, they were surprising, though. They really were. They gave the Colts a run for their money.
They surprised me, that's for sure.
Yeah, when a lot of people, I think, just kind of wrote in the Colts and, thought they'd kind of handle the Jags pretty easily. So shout out to Gardner Minshew and that offense, scoring points and getting stops on Phillip Rivers when they had to. But as for the Colts and Vikings game, I do think the Vikings will rebound in week 2. And they're going to defeat the Colts by a score of 24-17. I think the Colts are going to start 0-2, and it's going to get a little hairy in Indianapolis.
Interesting. So, I was really high on the Colts coming into this year. I really was. I really liked Phillip Rivers there. So I think I'm going to have to actually take the Colts, and I'm going to do the same score as you, 24-17. But I like the Colts, 24-17 over the Vikings.
All right. Any closing thoughts from you, E?
Absolutely. If you guys haven't done so yet, check out our website, showcasesportsmedia.com, or check out our Instagram page at Showcase Sports Media. We just put out an NFL preview, and we're going to start producing a lot more articles coming up this week. So go ahead and check that out. If you like our podcast, go ahead and subscribe to us and give us a good rating, 5 stars. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks for listening.
That's going to be a wrap. Cheers from Showcase Sports Media. We'll see you next week.